unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live, Boxing Ego unpack. Yeah. We unpack. We unpack. We unpack. Coming to you live. Gervonta Davis is now a full champion with the WBA. Gervonta Davis is now recognized as the WBA world champion, the full world champion. As you guys see on the screen, says WBA world champion Gervonta Davis, aka Tank, aka Abdul Wahid. So he won the title December 28th, 2019. And he's held on to that since, being obviously because he's an undefeated fighter. The number one ranked WBA contender is Isaac Pitbull Cruz, who Gervonta Davis also fought, and he beat him. Beneath that is a Golden Boy fighter, William Zepeda Segura, and then you have Frank Martin, and then Edwin De Los Santos, Floyd Schofield, another Golden Boy fighter, and that's the top five. So, and then just beneath that is El Rayo and Lomachenko. My thoughts on this, I love it. For starters, I predicted this. If you guys follow my content, if not, make sure you follow me on my social medias. You can find the information in the description box. But I predicted that this would be the move. Devin Haney announced that he was moving up to 140 pounds to fight Regis Prograis last year. Yes, we are in 2024. Devin Haney with this move, at the very beginning, it was kind of unknown as far as if Devin Haney was going to try to fight at lightweight and hold the belts or whatnot. But right before the fight was officially announced, Devin Haney, he released and relinquished the belts as to not further hold up boxing, and basically said, I'm done with lightweight and I'm fighting Regis Prograis. I'm in a new weight class. So that made all the belts available because he was the undisputed fighter. Gervonta Davis had a secondary belt, and that was the WBA regular belt. Devin Haney was the WBA super champion after defeating George Kambosos, and then he had two title defenses. George Kambosos, because there was a rematch clause, so he served that out in Australia, and then right after that, he ended up fighting Vasily Lomachenko, and he beat him. Close fight, definitely closer than the Kambosos outings, but Devin Haney, the judges, why he have Jada Pinkett? That's crazy. The judges gave the fight to Devin Haney and scored it for him, so Devin Haney also undefeated. Then he moved up, as I stated, to 140 pounds. Why do I like this? Because I'm a big fan of this. I'm a big proponent of keeping things moving. I think it's like almost like being in a group setting. If you've ever hung out with a group and you want to decide where to eat, something so simple as what's for lunch becomes way more complicated the more people that are involved, right? So let's say everybody listening to the video, we'll say the first 5 people that listen to this video, we all want to order a pizza. One guy wants Hawaiian. The other person's like, ew, I don't eat pineapples on pizza. The other person is like, I like cheese pizza. I don't like meat. You know, I'm a vegetarian or whatever. Like, then the other person wants meat lovers. And then someone, because of religious beliefs, they don't maybe eat pork, or they don't eat the pepperoni. You know what I mean? So it becomes, the point I'm making, it becomes very hard to order that pizza, you know? Or if you're kicking in a group, you're like, what's the move? Where you want to go? One guy wants to go to Applebee's. Someone wants to go to Denny's. The other person has deeper pockets, so they want to go to a more baller, nice restaurant. And this is what happens when you're in a group. You have to try to accommodate everybody. Not everybody makes good money or has the money to go to a nicer place. So maybe they want just maybe a regular chain like Cheesecake Factory or Applebee's or whatnot. So the point that I'm making here is that is what happens in boxing. Before we get to the conclusion of this video, make sure you guys stay to the end of this video. Here is a brief word from the channel's sponsor.
The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation.
As I was saying with the food analogy, simple things become more complex or complicated the more people you have. I know they say the more the merrier, but that's not always true. Sometimes when you have multiple people involved, it actually creates confusion. And I'm about simplicity. So when you have all these boxing belts, which are lingering around in the same division, it really is confusing, especially to new fans of the sport, because they'll be like, okay, Devin's undisputed. Devin Haney is an undisputed fighter. I get that. But then how does Gervonta Davis have a belt, right? And for a guy like Devin Haney, he was undisputed, and he then said he was going to fight at 140 pounds, which he did do, and he rehydrated to 165 pounds. So he clearly needed to, the reason I say that is because that means he clearly needed to probably move up because his body needed a break from making the 135 pound weight class. So Devin has a undisputed belts, Gervonta had belts, and I don't like these instances in boxing where a person has belts, but then they're not having to defend it, and it just becomes a mess for boxing. We can look to the super middleweight division for an example of this. You got Canelo Alvarez, and he's really not fighting the 168 pounders that I know you guys want to see him fight, like Jermell Charlo. Jermell Charlo is not a 168 pounder. He's a great fighter, but he's a great fighter at 154. That was his division. Even Jermell's brother has at least fought closer to 168, but even he, Big Charlo, hasn't fought at 168. So Canelo fighting a guy like Jermell Charlo, I guess it was a novelty fight, but at the end of the day, it really doesn't prove who the strongest 168 pound champion is or fighter when you got a guy like David Benavidez and David Morrell, who the politics haven't allowed for them to get the fight, but John Ryder can get a Canelo fight no problem. So I'm all about clarity and simplicity. Certain things don't need to be overcomplicated, and belts are one of them. I think that's why a lot of people kind of resonate with the fighters from yesteryear, right? You have legendary guys like Duran and Tommy the Hitman Hearns, Sugar Ray Leonard, Muhammad Ali, because I think back in those days with Sugar Ray Robinson, and even before that, Jack Johnson's and Joe Lewis's, I think when the belts existed, they made a little bit more sense because it wasn't this era of alphabet belts where the WBC, they might make a belt for anything, right? The USA Boxing, and I did a video about this, they just announced that they have a new policy for transgender boxing, you know what I mean? So you can transition and then box. You could be born a biological male, transition to a female, follow the policy in terms of getting certain hormone checks, and then you can fight a biological female, right? WBC has talked about integrating this. So who knows what's next for belts? They might come up with the new transgender belt or Joanna Man belt, or whatever belt that they want to come up with. So we seen it. They gave Jermall Charlo a Juneteenth belt. Nobody really asked for that. So for me, anything that simplifies boxing so people can identify the who's who. Now, I know there's this rivalry between Gervonta Davis and Devin Haney, and I would be remiss to leave this out of the conversation. Some people are now, because they're pro Devin Haney, will say, they're using this to somehow try to insult Gervonta Davis, saying, oh, he's the email champ and this, that, and the third. But the irony of trying to do that from Devin Haney fans is this, is Devin Haney, that's how he first became the WBC champion as well. So for one, I don't think Gervonta Davis cares. He said he didn't even care about the belts, right? The belts, that's like, the belts ain't gonna buy him new cribs and take care of his family. Floyd Mayweather told you that as well. So on one hand, I don't even think Gervonta Davis, I don't think he's pressed about it. I don't think he really cares about the belt, like some people do. I know that's the old school accepted thing, to care about the pound for pound list, care about the belts. Listen, if I was boxing in 2023, straight up, I would not care about that. Like Jake Paul, it looked like a good crowd in Texas. He has no belt. He just got ranked with one sanctioning body, the WBC. Yet he's able to, go viral when he's knocking out guys like Tyron Woodley and have some level of interest in his fights. So it's ironic that people still haven't got the message, and I've been saying it in my videos. People keep talking about belts and stuff like that. They mean less and less. So I feel Gervonta Davis 1,000%. One, I don't think he cares about the belts. Two, it's ironic to see Devin Haney fans who are calling Tank an email champion, but Devin Haney, that's how he got his belt with the WBC. So that's not being fair, that's not being consistent, and it's definitely not being objective. I'm not going to ridicule Tank, because this is just how the politics played out. Devin Haney moved up, and Devin Haney decided to fight at 140. Has nothing to do with Tank. Same thing with Jaron Ennis. You see how consistent I am on my channel. Jaron Ennis, he tried to fight Errol, tried to fight Crawford. The politics didn't line up in his favor. He didn't get those fights at the moment. So he got the IBF belt, and Terrence Crawford got stripped. Similar situation. And again, for the like I said, the irony from Devin Haney fans, like the pro Devin Haney crowd, is to say this to Tank, but that's, you defended Devin Haney because he went through a similar thing where he was trying to fight Lomachenko. The politics didn't align, the business didn't align, or whatever. So he didn't get the fight. And as a result, he became the email champ, or whatever people are saying. So I don't even do all the email champ. If you actually know boxing and you know how this stuff plays out, that email champ stuff is corny, because at the end of the day, we know that Gervonta's and Devin's and Jamal Charlo and, just Boots and all these guys who have gotten their belts, Tim Tszyu, he's another person. But it's only when it's a black fighter that you constantly hear this email champ stuff. Tim Tszyu got his belt the same way. The moment Jamal Charlo stepped foot on canvas and was announced for the Canelo fight, they stripped him. And as a result, he was unable to fight Tim Tszyu, not because he was ducking, because if Jermell was ducking or scared, why are you going to move up 14 pounds and fight someone who's more proven like Canelo Alvarez? So again, this is just business and just politics. People could say whatever it is, but you never really seen me steer that conversation of email champs, because we all know every fighter, until otherwise proven, or at least the ones in question, they would have preferred to fight for the belt to become a champion. So I'm loving the move, because again, I like stuff free flowing, where it's like a river and everything's just moving right along. Devin Haney made the choice. He's moved up to 140. So let Shakur Stevenson try to fight for one of the vacant belts, which he did, versus Edwin De Los Santos. Let Vasily Lomachenko and George Kambosos fight for a vacant belt, and let Gervonta Davis fight for a unification, because he doesn't have to fight, because he was already the champion with the secondary belt, so he just got elevated, right? That's how it works. Same thing with the WBC. You guys got to pay attention, or at least follow my channel, and I'll get you caught up to speed. Mario Barrios, same thing. He's the WBC interim champion. So if Terrence Crawford moves up to fight Errol Spence and has to vacate or get stripped, then there's a likelihood that Mario Barrios could possibly be elevated within the WBC because of the title that he currently holds. It's business. So I'm happy because it keeps 135 fresh blood flowing. The belts are not like held hostage. Shout out to Devin Haney for, you know, just promptly getting rid of the belts instead of like teetering between saying, oh, I want to fight at both, and then taking 140-pound fights or catchweight fights. He made the decision. He moved up. The division moves on. That simple. Let me know what you guys think of Tank Davis being elevated to the full champion. For more boxing news, subscribe to my channel, the best in the business, and it's not even close.